Calculus. We're in topic 4, which is rational functions, and this is video number 2 in the series. So we're going to go ahead and fully simplify example 3, which is a big old mess. It is multiplication, right? So I have this rational function, right? Polynomial all over polynomial is called a rational function, times this rational function, and I want to clean this up. Now, you could distribute the whole top and distribute the whole bottom, and you get this really big ugly mess that would not technically be wrong, but it also wouldn't be simplified, right? Like, it would still be the same values, but it wouldn't be simplified. So what we want to do here is the same thing that we saw in part C when I gave you that little intro in the first video. I want to fully factor all 4 of these expressions. So let's start with top left. So x squared minus 4x minus 5 is going to be an x minus 5 times an x plus 1. I know that because I see that the backseat being 5 means they both have to be a 1 or a 5. The minus means they have opposite signs, right? And I see that the x squared at the front means that they're both x's. When I kind of mix and match those possibilities, I realize that a negative 5x plus a 1x would give me my negative 4x. If we do bottom left, I have an x squared minus 3x plus 2. Well, that plus 2 has to either be a 1 and a 2 or a negative 1 and a negative 2. So right away, I know that the back seats are a 1 and a 2. They have the same sign, and that sign is a minus. So it's x minus 1, x minus 2, and you can FOIL to check that that's correct. When I go ahead and do top right, that's a difference of squares. X squared minus 4 is an x plus 2, x minus 2. And the bottom is going to be two numbers that multiply to 10, and because that minus, they're going to have to subtract to a negative 3. I'm pretty sure that that's an x minus 5 and an x plus 2, and you can double check by FOILing. Now, when we multiply fractions, we multiply straight across, so anybody on the top can cancel with anybody on the bottom. So this x minus 5 is going to cancel with this x minus 5. This x plus 2 will cancel with this x plus 2. This x minus 2 will cancel with this x minus 2. And after all that work, my answer is just x plus 1 over x minus 1, and that's the end of it. Right? So again, you could have FOILed everything all out, and it would have been the same expression, but it would have been much harder to deal with. So you want to fully factor this. We're going to go ahead and walk through an example 4, which is similar, but has one extra step. So in example 4, we have a 2x squared minus 2x over an x squared minus 9 divided by, and that's going to be important, x squared plus x minus 2 over x squared plus 2x minus 3. So the first thing you want to do when you see division is you want to flip this and make it multiplication. The reason I say that before you factor is if you factor first, you sometimes accidentally try to cancel things off of the wrong floors. So you should flip everybody and make sure they're on the right floor first. So I get this 2x squared minus 2x, which I can go ahead and factor. I can take a 2x out and have an x minus 1. I notice this denominator is an x plus 3, x minus 3, because it's a difference of squares, right? Now, when I flip this guy, right, the top is now the x squared plus 2x minus 3, which we're going to factor into an x plus 3, x minus 1. And the bottom is now this x squared plus x minus 2. Well, that's going to be an x plus 2, x minus 1. So when I go to cancel things, some stuff's going to cancel, but not maybe as much as we want, and that's okay. I notice that there's an x minus 1 on the top and there's an x minus 1 on the bottom, but I can only cancel one of those x minus 1s. This guy's going to have to stay. I see the x plus 3 on the top with the x plus 3 on the bottom. They cancel. Everything else stays. So my answer here is going to be a 2x times an x minus 1 over an x minus 3 times an x plus 2. Now, me personally, I think that this is the best answer because factored forms are usually easier. But if you want, you could distribute and make the top a 2x squared minus 2x, and the bottom would be an x squared minus x minus 6. Also totally okay. So again, notice each example just takes things a little bit step farther. Example 4 is basically example 3, but with one additional step that you have to flip the division. All right, let's talk about example